I've just seen this video of Bassem Youssef where he's talking with Piersmorgan, and he has one main line that he keeps on repeating all the time, and he keeps on saying, oh, the West Bank is a place where there is no Hamas and there are still Palestinian casualties. So why would getting rid of Hamas stop Palestinian killing? Well, that's just a lie. First of all, Jenin, which is in the north of the West Bank, has lots of Hamas terrorists. You can see it in this photo taken by Reuters. Also in Nablus, there are many Hamas terrorists. There were a lot of terror attacks prior to the 7th of October, which have been taking place in Israel. I'm going to bring you just 3 examples. You can look up the rest online. There were 36 Israelis altogether killed in these terror attacks. The 27th of January, 7 civilians were murdered next to a synagogue in Jerusalem. In the 9th of March, in Tel Aviv, a civilian was killed, the center of Tel Aviv, in Dizengoff. Also in the 5th of August, there was another civilian murdered by a Hamas terrorist. So saying that, the West Bank, there's no Hamas there, why are Palestinians being killed there? Well, they're being killed because there are still terrorists coming from the West Bank and killing Israelis. The only thing correct about the West Bank is that Hamas doesn't control the West Bank, because the IDF has these raids all the time to take down the Hamas terrorists so they don't take control also of the West Bank. By the way, there have also been rocket launches from the West Bank, from Jenin into Israel. Why are there so few rockets being launched from the West Bank? Maybe because Israel is there and the IDF making sure that that doesn't happen. So when you ask yourself, why are there casualties in the West Bank if Hamas isn't there? So the answer is, Hamas is there, terrorists are there, and that is why there are Palestinian casualties there. Very simple. They go on 40 minutes talking about that lie. Rubbish. Youssef also has this fixation where he just wants to show that there are more casualties on the Palestinian side, and that is why they are on a superior moral level. But the truth is that you have to think about the intent and why is that happening. Most of the casualties are from Gaza, not from the West Bank. And the reason there are fewer casualties in the West Bank is because Israelis, the IDF, can actually go into the villages and can pinpoint and find the Hamas terrorists and kill them or take them captive. But in Gaza, we can't just go in. So the bombing has to be done in order to take out the Hamas people, and then there are a lot more civilian casualties. Now, you have to also look at what Hamas is saying. Hamas, in their charter, in the 8th article there, you can look it up online, it says that the path is jihad, and the loftiest of wishes is to die for Allah. So when your main goal, your main wish is to die, then that has certain consequences of the way you live. So in Gaza, for example, there are bunkers, but those bunkers are used for the Hamas terrorists, not for the civilians. They are used to hide the rockets and to make sure that they continue launching them, even though Israel is trying to take out those launchers. Now, in Israel, there are also bunkers, but those bunkers and those shelters are used for civilians. So your intention at the end has an impact on the number of casualties, because you will decide if to store your rockets in shelters or your civilians in shelters. And that's even without mentioning that if Hamas and the Palestinians in the Gaza Strip would have turned it into a wonderful and beautiful place with all the funds, the hundreds of millions that they are getting, instead of taking that and putting all that money and focus into trying to destroy Israel, Israel withdrew from the Gaza Strip. It is under full control of the Palestinians and Hamas. They could have said, let's turn the Gaza Strip into a wonderful and beautiful place, into the Singapore of the Middle East. But no, they decided to turn it into a terrorist camp that will basically try to destroy and kill and eliminate the state of Israel. That is why we're in this situation. We wouldn't have needed any bunkers at all if they would have just decided to focus on life rather than death. You can't just blame all the responsibility on Israel. There is responsibility on the Palestinians. If they did not want Hamas, maybe they shouldn't have elected them in Gaza. Maybe if they really want to live, they shouldn't try to attack and refuse every single process that has tried to bring peace. This idea that all the responsibility is always on Israel, even while they are attacking and killing Israeli civilians, is just ridiculous.